Breaking today, Meghan Markle's ex-best friend, Jessica Mulroney's marriage is over. Will the fake Duchess be next? That is the question being asked in Montecito after this shock split because, of course, the story of these two couples was always on a parallel. So we're going to go into exactly what's happened with Mulroney in just one moment. But first, let me bring in YouTube sensation P-Dina. And P-Dina, the first thing I thought about when I heard about the end of this marriage is Meghan is going to be immediately thinking, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for Prince Harry and I? Because, of course, Jessica Mulroney and her husband, who of course was part of the upper echelons of high society with links to Trudeau in Canada, was very much the benchmark that Meghan used in terms of her entry into the royal family. She was so close to Jessica Mulroney that her daughter Ivy was even part of her wedding party alongside Princess Charlotte on the big day. Now that marriage is over, and it's fair to say Harry and Meghan are on the rocks too. What do you make of it all?
I think it brings in a lot of similarities between Meghan and Jessica. I think Meghan will at some point follow in the same path as Jessica. It's just a matter of time. And I think at this point, Meghan is probably looking to strengthen her relationships with people that she had in the past. I mean, no one in Hollywood is looking to form new friendships with her. Who does she have really on her side that really has any kind of leverage? Although Jessica has been hit pretty hard by her status as well. I just think Meghan is going to be doing the exact same thing at some point, just like Jessica. It's going to happen for sure.
Big news! Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may. What was most interesting for me about this as well is that the story was broken by the Meghan Markle propagandist Sarah Nathan, the editor-at-large of the New York Post, who reported Meghan Markle's ex-best friend Jessica Mulroney has split with her husband Ben after 16 years of marriage, page 6 can reveal. The Canadian stylist and her husband are divorcing after a fraught few years in which Mulroney was dumped by the Duchess of Sussex after being caught up in a racism scandal that left her toxic on the Toronto social scene. The Mulroneys share 3 children, and a source in Toronto told us Mulroney is not exactly keeping it a secret. They were elevated to the highest echelons of society when Mulroney's BFF, Meghan Markle, then an actress on Suits, started dating Prince Harry in 2016. She was one of the trusted few who knew about their secret romance and Harry's furtive visits to Toronto, and she even styled Markle for her engagement photos at Kensington Palace in November 2017. So they were so close that Mulroney's daughter Ivy, now 12, was a bridesmaid at the Sussex wedding in May 2018, while her twin sons, Brian and John, now 14, were page boys. However, things went downhill when Canadian influencer Sasha Exeter accused Mulroney of racism back in 2020. Indeed, a well-placed insider added Ben's family did an intervention because she was damaging the Mulroney brand. The family is still hoping that Ben's sister Caroline, who is a Minister of Provincial Parliament for Ontario and the province's Minister of Francophone Affairs and President of the Treasury Board, can run for leader of the Progressive Conservative Party. She is the next hope for the Progressive Conservatives and wants to be Prime Minister. During the 2020 fallout, Exeter said Mulroney took offence to a generic call to action she posted online encouraging other bloggers and social media influencers to use their platforms to speak out for the Black Lives Matter movement. What happened next was a series of very problematic behaviour and antics that ultimately resulted in Mulroney sending a threat in writing, Exeter said. Mulroney then seemingly referred to Markle as she issued a public apology, telling Exeter, "As I told you privately, I've lived a very public and personal experience with my closest friend where race was front and centre. It was deeply educational. I learned a lot from that. I promise to continue to learn and listen on how I can use my privilege to elevate and support black voices." After this, Mulroney's friendship with Markle waned and they are no longer believed to speak. Mulroney also lost her job as a stylist on Good Morning America, and her show I Do Redo was axed by Canadian network CTV. She also had to step down from her roles from charities. However, the well-placed insider said she was upset she couldn't get a job after Meghan dumped her. She became a toxic socialite. Breaking her silence about the situation in November 2020, Mulroney told Page Six, "I still feel a lot of shame. I feel that people believe the worst of me." Friends revealed at the time Mulroney was put on heavy antidepressants. She was suicidal. I mean, P-Dina, look, the reason I've gone into that story again is because is this not a modern tale of why you should just avoid this woke toxicity? Because Jessica Mulroney was the most loyal friend to Meghan Markle. She tried to buy into all of this Black Lives Matter stuff. She then tried to use Meghan's experience with fake racism within the royal family in her apology. The response was to sack her from every single job she'd ever had. The response from Meghan was to never speak to her again. Now her marriage is over, in part because Meghan walked away from her. And I just feel like it proves that this woke ideology and this woke mob don't give a damn about anyone. And by the way, other than themselves and their social standing, and by the way, I include Meghan Markle in this because I feel like even though I hold no particular truck for Jessica Mulroney, how awful that she's going through all of this in part because of Meghan Markle, her former best friend, and her former best friend hasn't even picked up the phone to her for years, even when she was suicidal. Now she's going through a divorce.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes we have to give people an opportunity to make things right. I mean, you go through life with your own experiences, and sometimes you just may get it wrong. And I think to be so heavily criticized and thrown away like trash for what happened, I don't think does good for anybody because nobody's trying to grow or learn from that experience. Although I did hear that Jessica did do some bullying towards Charlotte. Like there's some things that outside of racism that this Jessica did, but just
Oh,
looking at the
totally.
racism
She's actually,
issue, yeah,
look, and this is what I mean, P-Dina, and I do want
yeah,
you to go on because, I'm not defending this woman. She was Meghan's henchwoman. That's the thing. She treated
right.
Catherine like a piece of dirt. She treated Charlotte like a piece of dirt. But the point is, Meghan didn't care because the moment that she was potentially putting her own reputation at risk, Mulroney was out. That was my point.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. And that's what Megan does. Megan just throws people away. But there was a clear opportunity here to still hold on to your friendship and to make it a learning experience. If Megan really had true Black experiences, she would have seen how Jessica perhaps maybe didn't mean any bad by it, or she may have said some things that she didn't mean to say, or it came out the wrong way. There was no grace given to her friend. And so you just look at the kind of person that Megan is, and you would expect her to do this. I think a person of color would have definitely, if they knew their friend really well and were good with their friend, they would have shown their friend how they got this wrong and they would have helped them through this. Okay. Because if you're trying to do the right thing and you get it wrong, I mean, we're not perfect people. So I don't think Megan should have just thrown her friend away like that. I think it was very revealing to her character and the kind of person that she is and what will eventually happen to Harry. Let's not get this mistaken. I think this will be Harry's future as well. And it's just what Megan does. She doesn't really have sympathy for people. It's all about her brand and how she looks. And if Jessica is going to make her look bad, of course, she's going to try to just like distance herself from Jessica because it's about preserving Megan's her look, her brand, the way she appears to people. It's not about the friendship, right? It's about something more superficial. And that's why Megan didn't hold on to her friendship to Jessica. And I'm not surprised that this was difficult for Jessica. She lost a lot. And, you would think a friend would be there for you. Well, Megan's not a real friend to anybody, okay? You can tell by how when you get in trouble, you do something wrong, she's just going to throw you away like garbage. That's what she does.
Totally. But divorce is on her mind, P-Dina, for a whole load of reasons. We know that. And it has been for some time. Like, let's be honest about it. She has been touting the post-divorce book now for years. She's thinking about the post-divorce series. It doesn't necessarily mean that the divorce is imminent, but she's planning because
Mhm.
she knows that there are times when Harry is questioning his decisions, especially in
Mhm.
recent weeks after the loss of the Netflix deal. But the point being today that, of course, she sees the parallels in the two relationships because these were fairy tales, right? So Jessica and Ben,
Mhm.
that was a fairy tale. That was meant to be forever. She was going to be there along the side of Canada's first family. You know, that was forever in Meghan's head. And she saw that relationship and she thought that she was going to do a very similar thing, first with Prince Harry and the British royal family, then when that failed in Montecito. The dreams are crushed. And I just believe that there are so many parallels, and she will be acutely aware of those parallels and what it means, because it's like, my friend's fairy tale hasn't worked out, mine isn't going to either.
Exactly. And don't think that she may not try to go buddy up to Ben, because I could see Megan doing that, because now there could be an alliance there still with Jessica's ex, because there's still a way to gain some power connections now through Ben with Jessica out of the picture. So I wouldn't be surprised if Megan tried to use that to her advantage, but also seeing that this divorce is coming for her ex-friend. Megan sees that it's just a matter of time for her as well. Eventually Harry's not going to have served any more purpose for her. Okay,
It's
let's just get that straight.
coming. Both fairy tales became nightmares. And look, P-Dina, I
Hmm.
am very annoyed. That's why I'm very annoyed about the way the mainstream media are so desperate for us at this point to forgive Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. I find it completely bizarre, but I was blown away by the Daily Telegraph getting on the bandwagon. Now, for people outside of the UK, why the Daily Telegraph was so significant is this was the late Queen's favourite newspaper. She would pick up and read the Daily Telegraph first thing every morning. The Daily Telegraph is known as the most conservative of our newspapers, the most monarchist, the most avidly pro-royal. But they have decided to hire a very senior British newspaper editor, a woman I know actually, Eleanor Mills is her name. She used to be very high up at the Times newspapers. I mean, look, there she is with the Queen, right? With Queen Camilla. So this is like a woman at the top
Hmm.
of the British media establishment, the British mainstream media. And they have wheeled her out in the Daily Telegraph to launch, I
Hmm.
think, the strongest bid to force and to guilt trip and to emotionally blackmail the King and Prince William into taking back Harry and Meghan, just forgetting what they've done. I'm disgusted by it, but I want to take you through it, P-Dina, because this column is highly significant. It's headlined in the newspaper, Charles and William should accept Harry's olive branch. The King and Prince should embrace the Duke of Sussex's peace offering before it's too late. That is what family, royal or not, is about. And the column reads, there is nothing sadder or more depressing than a family feud, particularly one where a parent ill with cancer is estranged from one of their two children. Life is short and precious. The graveyards are full of irreplaceable CEOs, editors, politicians, and kings. The only people we are truly irreplaceable to are our families. That is why King Charles and Prince William should not just accept Harry's olive branch. He offered this weekend to share his official diary with his father and brother so his activities don't unintentionally eclipse theirs on the front page, but do so quickly. The dreaded palace sources indicate that this gesture by Harry will go some way to mollifying his father. Charles was apparently miffed that Harry's trip to see landmines in Africa this month inadvertently knocked Queen Camilla's birthday portrait off the front page of the papers, which is why they are going to sync calendars from now on. But all this talk of dovetailing schedules and the King's people talking to Harry's people is ridiculous. Whether we are princes or paupers, family is family. Sometimes our nearest and dearest drive us nuts. Sometimes we may not love their choice of partner. Sometimes they behave in ways which hurt or humiliate. This is a time for the royal family to pull together to let bygones be bygones. Come on, Charles. Show some true statesmanship befitting your role as the head of the Church of England and forgive Harry and Meghan before it is too late. This is the yardstick by which you will be judged. We may not all be kings, but we all know what family is about. Harry is trying to meet you on the territory that you most care about, your royal image. It's up to you as king, but most importantly, as his father, to bury the hatchet. Come on, Charles, be the growing up. Get off your high horse. There's no time like the present. Now, I'm sorry. I'm furious. Like, yeah, not all of us have family members, thank God, Eleanor Mills, that have gone out on the national, international stage and call us racist. I've said that we're trying to kill our family members. That has quite an impact. You can't just forget about it. I mean, there are some sane people on this, P-Dina. The Royal News Network posted, please stop this nonsense. Harry was the bad actor here. The royal family is under no obligation to embrace him. And if they do, without Harry grovelling and begging for forgiveness for his deplorable behaviour, they will have created a monster. From Niall Gardner of the Heritage Institute, negotiating with Prince Harry is like holding talks with Iran. I love that. Nothing good will come from them. The only message Harry and Meghan should receive from the royal family is strength and resolve with zero concessions. And according to Taz posted, I'm sorry, what? The royals should embrace Harry's peace offering? What peace offering? After everything he's done, all of the lies, allegations, and further threats, his offering is sharing his diary so they can arrange their calendars around his movements. Arrogant. And then, there's a bell. And there's an end. So I assume what's going on there. I mean, P-Dina, the reason I'm making so much of this column is because it's in the Daily Telegraph, right? This isn't some lefty newspaper. This isn't some lefty columnist. And this constant bullying and emotionally blackmailing of the king and Prince William is driving me around the bend. But first, in today's digital world, your online freedom and safety have never been more under threat, whether it's state overreach, tracking by big tech, or cyber criminals lurking on public Wi-Fi. Indeed, in the UK, just this week, we've now seen many popular sites and important content, even my news reporting here on Outspoken, even important speeches in the House of Commons, censored entirely because of the government's so-called new Online Safety Act. You will have heard, I'm sure, in this discussion, lots of people saying you need to get a VPN to protect yourself and still access all your favorite content. Well, guess what? I have the perfect solution. It's Surfshark, by far the world's best VPN that protects your identity and secures your data. But the great thing is Surfshark is actually so much more than a VPN. And you can go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark to secure your data, protect your freedom, and support Outspoken at the same time. Now look at this. Surfshark's Clean Web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing links so you can browse safely without being spied on. And it makes the experience so much easier and more pleasant too. Need to access certain apps or websites without VPN interference, like your banking app, for example? Well, Surfshark's bypasser feature handles that with ease. And if your VPN connection ever drops, Surfshark's kill switch immediately disconnects your device from the internet, keeping your data safe at all times. Plus, with dynamic multi-hop, you can route your connection through 2 different countries at once, doubling your encryption and making tracking nearly impossible. This also means you can freely switch beyond your favorite country lock shows with the click of a button. So you can be watching effectively your favorite TV shows or sport from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. There are other benefits of Surfshark too. You can use it on unlimited devices, meaning your entire household can stay safe with just one subscription. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, there is a world of choice at your fingertips. And I know for lots of you, this will be your first time using a VPN, but the great news is that Surfshark offers you 24/7 customer service. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark. And what's more, this is really important. Surfshark is so confident it's the best VPN in the world. Trust me, it is. I use it every single day, that you can give it a try for a full 30 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you will get your money back. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken or use the code OUTSPOKEN at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. But now, Back to the show.
Yeah, I think Harry needs to be completely broken first. First, let's just think about this. The only reason why this man is trying to come back is because he needs money. That's his motive. His motive really isn't true forgiveness. It's because he needs connections to resources because they don't have money. If they had won their Netflix contract, Harry would not be trying to go back or to, find some kind of way to give an olive branch to his family. He is hurting. So I say he needs to keep hurting. He needs to be completely broken before any type of somewhat forgiveness should be even looked his way. And I think even then it should be at an arm's length where we'll talk, but don't get too close because you're still in the doghouse. You're still somebody who we can't quite trust yet. I mean, really, think about it. He's only doing this because he needs something. He's not doing it because he's really looking for an olive branch, and that I think it's silly for people to say that you should forgive Harry. They are not the ones who have been talked badly about and who had a book written about them and been called racist. And it's shameful for people to say that Harry should be forgiven by his family. You're not in their shoes to say that, to understand what they're going through and what this has cost their families. So no, I don't agree with people saying that. And I think Harry needs to first see what it's really like on your own and be completely broken and tattered and disarrayed and just broken down to a level where he really shows true forgiveness, not because he's motivated by money, but because he feels in what he has done. He's really feeling how it has done himself, his family, not good because he's broken. And I think that's the only way. And I think, yeah, keep not speaking with this man. Let him feel what it's like to go through what he's going through now. So he can really understand you have real forgiveness starts when you show humility. I mean, what is this about sharing your calendar? Like, what, you have the authority now to help the royal family, offering your calendar? Things are going to be just fine if you share your calendar or not, Harry. That arrogance right there in itself says a lot about his mindset. It says a lot that he's not really there yet to show humility and to really ask for forgiveness just by that gesture alone.
100%, totally agree. But P-Dina, what we are seeing, though, is the mainstream media in the United Kingdom. I don't get it. I don't know why, although I have my very strong suspicions, deciding not just to become shills for Harry and Meghan, which we've now seen with the Daily Mail hiring this woman, Charlotte Griffiths, as their editor at large, but also really turning on William and Catherine in a whole load of ways. But I want to show you their front page this morning because you'll see there a £40 million super yacht, an enchanting Greek island, and the mystery of William and Kate's summer holidays. Note, they still continue to call her Kate, which is incredibly disrespectful. And this is a very odd one because you haven't seen the Daily Mail show any interest in Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's holidays. And there's usually a tacit understanding with the British press over summer that, they go off and they have a bit of time away during the school holidays and it's not a huge deal. But the Mail have decided to go massive on the fact that apparently these two were in Kefalonia. They've even posed the question to their millions of readers around the world, has anyone seen Prince William and his family? And they've sent a reporter from London on this bizarre sort of hunt for William and Catherine. Let me take you through it. They write, locals swear blind that the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children George, Charlotte and Louis arrived on the island by private Learjet on July 7th. Also in tow, the others insisted with the future king's in-laws, Carol and Michael Middleton. All of them were driven to a waiting super yacht and from there out to Azure waters and, well, who knows where. Speculation has been rife. Oh, yes, sure, I got a picture of their boat, a taxi driver assures me. He flourishes his smartphone in a photo of the super yacht cruising north of the capital. He added it's owned by a Microsoft tycoon, a billionaire tech guy. I know for sure this is the one they're on. Maybe, but wasn't the smart money on an even bigger boat than that? On July 19, stories began to surface in the Greek media of how the Prince and Princess of Wales were enjoying the largesse of Sheikh Abdul bin Zayed Al Nahyan, a prominent member of the UAE royal family. His £340 million mega yacht is said to be one of the most opulent private vessels in the world. While the story was ignored by the British media, it was picked up around the world. The Delhi-based Hindustan Times, for instance, ran its account under the headline Prince William Kate Middleton sailing around Greece on yacht belonging to Emirati Sheikh. Some stories specified restaurants the royals were supposed to have visited. Social media hastened the story's spread, proclaiming certain facts with inflexible certainty. On Kefalonia, meanwhile, where rumours moved quicker than opera at full tilt, locals added their own embellishments. And I think this whole thing is absolutely insane, P-Dina, because they don't know. They don't know. It's a completely speculative piece. Now, that's not journalism. Journalism is actually going to find out, because otherwise you are potentially running a whole load of rumours that could be completely untrue. But the view certainly from a lot of folk is that this is the Mail purposefully trying to make William and Catherine look bad. You know, because we've also seen this week the story about them potentially considering moving from Adelaide Cottage to the Belvedere estate on the grounds of Windsor. And again, the Daily Mail made this out to be some type of luxury decision because the Belvedere has a swimming pool and a tennis court. I feel like there is a very, very specific attempt going on, P-Dina, to try and paint Prince William and Catherine as something they are not. And it's very suspicious to me that this attempt is going on at exactly the same moment that the Daily Mail has become propagandists for Prince Harry and Meghan. Can we really say that that's a coincidence?
Yeah, I just think that's all you got? You're gonna talk, that's what you're gonna talk about? I mean, look at all the hard work and the good things that they're doing. I mean, I don't see how anybody could try to bring up anything negative around Catherine and William, considering they still have young children. Catherine's gone through a lot with her health. I mean, William's going to be the future king. Give them a break. I just think trying to cause problems with them and these articles then with Harry all at the same time. There, it looks like there is an agenda, but they're bringing out things that are so minute, trying to make them out to be something that people should feel a special kind of way about. And I think it's just ridiculous. I think Catherine and William should just keep doing what they're doing. I will not bat an eye when it comes to anything that they have to say about them because they are holding their heads high, still doing their work. And I just like them as a family. I think they're good people and they're out to do good things and they have a little luxury in life. So what's the big deal? I mean, there's not like there's some scandal that they're reporting on that needs to have people look really seriously at this couple. It's like almost the audacity about bringing up such things. It seems very childish to do something like that, especially to people that have so much responsibility already and who are very well liked, with people.
Yeah,
Seems like an agenda.
I also was not happy with the Daily Telegraph today, P-Dina, for another reason. I'm sorry, this is so shocking. This is why you need us, right? This is why you need the independent
Right.
media, why you need
Yep.
forces outside the royal rota, because something is going on in the British mainstream
Yeah.
media. Front page of the Daily Telegraph today, these horrific claims about Princess Margaret, but specifically the Queen Mother, suggesting that Princess Margaret had fetal alcohol syndrome brought on by the Queen Mother's drinking. This is a claim in a new biography, Prince Margaret and the Curse, an inquiry into a royal life, that will be released in the US in September. But as far as I can tell, this is absolute supposition, P-Dina, no proof whatsoever. And why on earth would Princess Margaret have fetal alcohol syndrome if the late Queen Elizabeth II didn't? And the suggestion here, which is that the Queen Mother is some total drunk because she happened to like a gin, in the evening and a bit of port and wine after 6 p.m., I think is really disgusting. Given, do you know what I'll always remember the Queen Mother for? During World War II, you know, when my grandparents were both in the United Kingdom. In fact, my grandmother was living through the Blitz as a young teenager in Essex, you know, to the east of London. And the Queen Mother stayed at Buckingham Palace, even when it was bombed by the Nazis, because she said she wanted to be able to look the East End in the face. And that's the same Queen Mother that the Daily Telegraph is now putting on the front page to say, oh, you were such a drunk and Princess Margaret had so many troubles. Well, it must have been fetal alcohol syndrome. I just think it's quite disgusting, if I'm honest.
There is no evidence. This has just come out of left field. No one's ever mentioned this before. And what an insult, right? I mean, the audacity to write such claims, I think it's so irresponsible. And I think when people have these legacies, they've done, like what you were saying, these admirable things, you know, they're amongst the people. I mean, why would you want to bring out something that you know not to be the truth? It's just you're making up something and just trying to put a stain on this legacy. I don't understand that. And I think there's something deeper there. There's something more sinister happening, because it just seems so irresponsible to say these types of things with no evidence, no previous talking points about it from a family member. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you would know if this was the case just by, I think, the way she would carry herself, or maybe there would be obvious signs. I mean, it just is ridiculous. Why would they say that? I don't get it, Dan.
I think it was gross. And I think something is changing in the media. And can I just say, that's why, let me do a bit of a shout out. I really do want people to subscribe to us here on Outspoken, because we are giving you, this is what I promised when we launched Outspoken, we're going to give you that coverage that the Royal Rota won't. And there's so much reason not to trust the mainstream media at the moment. So please do sign up. www.outspoken.live. If you go for a monthly paid membership, you get first access to the Royal Uncancelled After Show every weekday, Monday to Friday. You get it first, either live or on demand. And most importantly, with no advertising whatsoever, which I know is very appealing to some people. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.